So, what do you get when a slapstick comedian and a sewer rat walk into the world of high art? It sounds like the start of a bad joke, right? But today we're going to look at two performances that did just that. They totally crashed the party. And in the process, they showed us something really surprising about culture itself.
Okay, so our whole journey today starts with this really weird, provocative quote. Just let that sink in for a second. Cinema is the ultimate pervert art. Sounds kind of dark, right? Like cinema is actively trying to keep us from what we want. But what if pervert here isn't about what we think it is? What if it's more about turning away from what's expected?
So, to figure out what that really means, we're going to dive into two totally different case studies. First up, you've got a comedy legend going head-to-head with a literary giant. And the second one, well, let's just say it involves a rat. All right, first up, our comedian. We're talking about Louis de Funès, who was like the most popular comedian in France. And he had this lifelong obsession. He desperately wanted to play Harpagon in The Miser, written by the most revered playwright in French history, Molière. So right away, you can see this is going to be a meeting, or maybe more like a collision, of two completely different worlds.
And look, this wasn't just another role for de Funès, it was a personal quest, a dream he chased for over 20 years. Get this, he kept turning down offers to play the part because he felt he wasn't mature enough for it yet. And then, tragically, after some health problems meant he could never do it on stage, he poured absolutely everything he had into making the film version. He even co-directed it. That's how much it meant to him.
So you've got this real clash of expectations, right? The high culture crowd, they wanted something respectable. You know, a traditional, stuffy museum piece adaptation. But de Funès? No way. He saw something totally different. He saw this manic, physical comedy just hiding under the surface of the character's greed. He even argued that Molière's own performances back in the day weren't stuffy at all. They were loud, physical, almost grotesque, and that was the energy he wanted to bring back.
And here's the key, and this is in his own words. De Funès saw this universal truth in the character's stinginess. It's that moment of pure panic we've all felt when we think we've lost something important, right? He believed that raw, frantic feeling wasn't just dramatic, it was hilarious. He was basically connecting a character from the 1600s to a feeling we all know today.
So, did it work? How did people react? Well, the film sold 2.4 million tickets. Now, for a superstar like de Funès, that was kind of modest. But for a Molière adaptation, that was a huge smash hit. He managed to bring this classic play to a massive audience that probably would have never seen it otherwise. He proved that high art could actually be a blockbuster.
The film's legacy ended up being pretty complicated. A lot of critics were split. They didn't know what to make of it. But its cultural impact? Undeniable. In fact, this bold move, smashing pop comedy together with classical theater, was a huge reason he was eventually given France's highest film honor, a Lifetime Achievement Award. He had basically stormed the castle of high art and won.
So, de Funès stormed that castle, but he was still a beloved insider, right? A comedy star. Our next case study, though, this one's about what happens when the challenger is a total outsider, a real outsider. We're going from a comedy icon to, well, the absolute last thing you'd ever want to see in a fancy Parisian kitchen.
Yup, meet Remy. And he is an outsider in every possible way you can imagine. His own family, the other rats, they just don't get his love for food. To them, he's just a useful poison sniffer. And to the human world, he's vermin, the very definition of filth, especially in a super clean kitchen. The poor guy belongs absolutely nowhere. Okay, to really understand why this story is so powerful, we're going to borrow a lens from an academic, a scholar named Laura Marat. We're going to look at how this film actually queers the very idea of French culture. Now hold on. Queering here doesn't just mean what you might think. In this academic sense, it's a way of looking at things that intentionally messes with the rules. It's about questioning those strict categories we put everything in, and finding beauty when you mix things together that are supposed to stay separate.
Think about the world of the movie. It's all about these strict divides, right? Humans live up top, rats are down below. The fancy, calm dining room is totally separate from the crazy, chaotic kitchen. And Remy just shatters all of that. From his secret hiding spot inside Linguini's chef hat, it's kind of like his own little closet. From in there, he can see everything, but nobody can see him. He completely blurs the line between human and animal, between the one pulling the strings and the puppet. And this whole blurring the lines thing, it even applies to the kitchen staff. They're all misfits, right? A total melting pot of society's rejects. And then there's the dish itself, the one that wins over the impossible-to-please critic, ratatouille.
It's just a simple peasant stew. The name even comes from words that mean to stir up or make dirty. So the movie takes this dirty stew made by a rat and a bunch of outcasts and turns it into the highest form of art. It just completely demolishes the wall between high and low culture.
Okay, so a manic French comedy from the 80s and a Pixar movie about a rat. What on earth do they have in common? Let's connect the dots here.
It's simple, really. Both De Funès and Remy are the ultimate outsiders. You have De Funès, the lowbrow comedian who some people thought was like polluting the sacred world of classical theater. And then you have Remy, a literal pest, invading the absolute peak of French culture. It's food. One of them challenges how art should be done, and the other challenges something even deeper. Who even gets to be an artist in the first place?
And that brings us to this one perfect line from the critic in the movie Anton Ego. Honestly, this single sentence is the heart of this entire thing. It's the powerful idea that connects both of these weird, disruptive, and, beautiful performances.
So, this brings us all the way back to where we started, that weird quote. Now that we've seen how both of these movies completely upend our expectations, how does that quote feel? Is cinema the ultimate pervert art because it denies us what we want?
Well, maybe it is, but not in a creepy way. In this sense, pervert just means turning away from the obvious, from the expected. The best movies don't just give us what we think we want, like a boring, respectful play or a kitchen with no rats. No, instead they give us something way more interesting, more profound. They show us that genius, a great artist, can truly come from absolutely anywhere. And really, what's more inspiring than that?